says DMAP Phase 4 makes the following policy changes for DC and ABE sellers. So beginning with the March 2024 exam, so that's like next month, right? The Navy-wide advancement exam for advancement to E5 and E6 will transition to a rating knowledge exam. The rating knowledge exam will be completely consistent with the regular advancement exam as to type and scope of questions and will be conducted using the same process and timeline, right? So nothing really shaking up right there. However, sellers are only required to pass this RKE, right? That's the rating knowledge exam, once per pay grade, and all time and rate requirements to take the exam are removed at the E4 and E5 pay grades. So as soon as you make E4, next time the exam come around, you can take it. As soon as you make E5, you don't got to wait 12 months. Next time the exam come around, you can take it, right? Successfully passing the RKE is a requirement for sellers to compete for assignment to billets in the next higher pay grade via A2P, that's advanced to position, and CA2P, that's command advanced to position, right? ESOs, education service officers, must create enlisted advancement worksheets and submit exam orders for their sellers. To support Cycle 263 exam ordering timelines, exams for these sellers have been added. I'm not going to read that. DC and ABE sellers advanced to E4 and E5 and Cycle 260 are now eligible for the Cycle 263 RKE, right? So as soon as it hits, you can take the RKE. Although not required to do so, sellers who pass the RKE may voluntarily take future RKEs in an effort to improve their marketplace score as measured by the seller scoring criteria in order to become more competitive to the marketplace through a higher exam score. So that's important, right? If you want to be more competitive in that marketplace, take that test again, score higher so you could be more competitive. Once they pass the RKE, sellers may advance to E5 and E6 by one of two processes. So this is the big thing, right? So you take the test as soon as you can. When you pass it, here you go. It's two processes, E5, E6, right? So A2P, right? Advanced to position. Sellers compete in the My Navy assignment marketplace for a billet at the next higher rank on the normal timeline relative to their PRD. For the civilians that's listening, is projected rotation date. For the civilians that's listening, y'all probably still don't know what the hell I'm talking about. So, as specified in their permanent change of station orders or as adjusted by higher authority or approved personnel action requests. So, you compete for a higher rank at your PRD. So, you took this RKE. Now your normal PRD comes up, and you're looking for orders, and that's when you start competing, right? Mm-hmm. Multiple sellers competing for the same billet will be adjudicated by PERS 40 via comparison of the scoring cards that we talked about. Once matched to a billet at the next higher rank, the seller must serve to complete the full tour at the new rank in the new billet via extension or reenlistment as necessary, right? And may be FROC 30 days prior to transfer. So that's kind of just like the senior enlisted marketplace, right? Mm-hmm. Sellers will be advanced by the gaining command upon arrival in the new billet after completion of required training. And that's like what we have right now with A2P. So that's A2P, right? So CA2P, a commanding officer selects a seller in their command who has completed at least half of their tour. Half of the tour for E4 is 24 months. Half of the tour for E5 is 18 months. To advance into a vacant or projected to be vacant billet as validated by PERS 40. Additionally, with DMAP Phase 4, ISIX and TICOM can also conduct CA2P from one assigned unit to another upon nomination by a seller CO, so they can move units in the same TICOM. The new ISIC TICOM process will also require completion of at least half the tour prior to transfer and a vacant or projected to be vacant billet as validated by PERS 40. Additionally, it cannot result in a funded PCS move. An approved CA2P seller must serve to complete a full tour at the new rank beyond the PRD at the old rank via extension reenlistment as necessary and may be FROC'd upon PERS 40 approval of the MRR, right? The seller will be advanced by the gaining command upon arrival in a new billet and after completion of required training. E4 and E5 sellers who have passed the RKE and will meet all the following criteria by the time they desire to enter the marketplace may request early entry into the marketplace from PERS 40 via your electronic personal action request. That's the 1306.
That's the 1306.
Right, /7, right? Talk to your your career counselor. They can help you with that. More than 1 year at their current command, more than 3 years at that. So 1, more than 1 year at their current command. 2, more than 3 years at the current rank. 3, more than 1 year until their PRD. So that's when, if you want to try to, compete and go into the pool yourself, that's the criteria. Advancement via meritorious advancement program, and this is what the seller was talking about. So MAP is no longer authorized for advancements to E5 and E6 for DC and ABC, the ABE sellers in the AC, right? So that's kind of what that seller was talking about. And the policy commences March 2024, cycle 263. So that's it. I got a fact sheet too. I'm gonna read 2 things off the fact sheet, and then we could get into whatever the conversation that we want to get into. Is implementation across additional ratings? Yes. The future additional ratings will be added. What does advancement process look like for a seller looking to put on rank? Sellers must have their reporting, seniors, retention, and advancement recommendation. That's on the eval. And have passed the rating knowledge exam. With these 2, they are eligible to compete in the marketplace for advancement when hitting normal rotation windows. Selected sellers will advance after obligating service and reporting to the biller. Right? So that's A2P. And that's the normal A2P process. And then CA2P, like I said, half your tour, the captain could, put you into a billet, and then you can make rank at your command into that next billet up, or your ISIC could move you to, or your ISIC or TICOM can move you to somewhere in your TICOM. Right? The first thing I got is, it looks as if DMAP is going to have more phases than Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, that's the first thing I got, right? And the second thing I got is this, though. Unless you get that CA2P, you're not making rank. Like, from what I read, you're not making rank at your command unless you get that CA2P. If you're ABE or DC, E4 or E5, AB or DC, you're not making rank at your current command unless you get CA2P. Am I wrong about that?
No, you're right. Because otherwise, you have to wait until you rotate.
Yeah.
Right?
So now, and then stack this. And look, hey, y'all, we about to talk about this whole my Navy assignment, the ObliServe thing, right? The new ObliServe changes, right? So we're about to talk about that. So stack that with the ObliServe changes, and stack that with the whole 30-month time of service. So where a seller would have made E5, in 3 years or something like that, just based off making rank fast, that's not happening now. Right? So you got a 5-year, 4-year, 5-year window, so you're going to be that same rank. You're not topping off E4 at your command unless you CA2P.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What's up with that, Tish? What you think?
It's going to be hard to, because advancement is something that motivates sailors. That's kind of what makes them be competitive. So if they know that they're not going to get advanced, well, I mean, unless they're trying to get the CA2P, and like the person that kind of hit me up, I guess, like, I mean, they're complaining about the map, but I mean, there's no more map, but I mean, you're going to have to hit that CA2P. That's almost the same thing as map. But if you ain't in there, then yeah, you're going to have to wait. I guess it depends on your community and how fast you typically can make rank, but they're expanding it to all of them. I think I made E5 in about 4 years, I think 3-4 years, something like that. Yeah, I think it was about 4 years because it was right after my first tour. At the beginning of my next tour, I made E4. And then I forgot when I made E5. I know I made E6 in 6 years. So, I mean, it can kind of slow you down a little bit. But I mean, they're trying to. Forrest said in our episode that this was coming. Yeah. He didn't say when, But he said something like this could be coming down the turnpike, and here it is.
So the sellers that I've talked to, they don't like this. Do you understand why they don't like it?
Because of the wait. The wait time to advance, and yeah.
So because you used to be able to advance in, like I said, like 3 years or something. Now you at least
3 years. Yeah, now it's
at least for almost a little over 4 years, like a tour.
Yeah,
like a 5-year C tour.
Like, a whole tour. Yeah,
you're gonna be that same
whole tour
for a whole C tour.
Right. And you gotta compete for a billet, to get that next drink. But like, there's no guarantee, right? Like, how are you going to guarantee that you're going to get that billet?
Is that retention by like will or retention by force?
That's retention by force.
Like, if you want to get something out of this, you gotta stay.
You gotta stay in.
You gotta be willing to, maybe do a C tour. Because
I was about to say, and you got to stay to see. Yeah, and I think that's one of the big issues. We have a retention issue. Because that's what we feel. We already discussed, is there a retention? Is there not a retention issue? But I mean, we need people. The ships are undermanned. The Navy's undermanned, and even bigger than that, the ships are undermanned. That's where we need people the most. And so they got to come up with ways that's going to keep people out to sea.
Yeah.
And kind of hold that over their head, in order to keep people in the Navy. So, I mean,
yeah, and we need people in both avenues. We need people in the Navy, and we need people out at sea, especially right now with war being on the horizon, right? And we don't talk about that much on this podcast, but war is definitely on the horizon. We're going to talk about it a little bit more through different parts of this episode. So we definitely need people. I don't know how to feel about this policy because, I honestly, I would like to get a junior seller on here to talk through this, a junior DC or a junior ABE to tell me how their people feel about this, like how their peers feel about this. There's things about it that I don't like because I'm used to what I was used to when I was a junior seller, and I might not be seeing the future and the future potential of something like this. I might not be seeing it. All I can think about is that I wouldn't have wanted my promotion. Like, I was already mad that it took so long to just naturally make, the pay grade. Like, certain, like the 12-month wait, I'm like, I'm ready now. Like, watching like FCEs and stuff, I put on second class as soon as they get to the ship, and I'm still like a fireman, so I get that, it might also kind of take away that whole, because I feel like in the last few years, we just been kind of like promotion heavy, where it's like that kind of clouded in my opinion, that kind of clouded our thoughts about other things. Subject matter, expertise, and stuff like that. But I mean, taking an exam away, that's kind of don't help either. But it's just a mixed bag of a whole bunch of stuff, Tish. It's a mixed bag of a whole bunch of stuff, and sellers ain't liking it. I don't think they want to go do 7 for the other DMAP stuff. I don't think they want to go do 7 years. I don't think they want to know they passed the test and then wait 3 years or more or 2 years to be able to put on rank when they commit to another command. And then that observe shit that we're about to talk about really adds to this whole thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But they don't even have the senior enlisted marketplace right yet. So why are they trying to implement some of the same policies that they're using there that we're still really trying to figure out into this policy? Let's crawl before we walk.
Yeah, hey, we're going to mimic this setting that we've been getting some bad feedback from.
We heard your feedback.
So we took
and we're going to implement it more.
We took that and we're going to swing that over here for the junior sellers. It makes no sense of the senior sellers being the only ones bitching about it. Let's equal opportunity. Let's let the junior sellers bitch about it. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
just in case things got weird, we did have a technical issue there. I guess this Big Navy don't want us to talk about DMAP. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? But if anything, we do. Let's get a young DC man or ABE on the podcast so we can have a further conversation on it. You know, and even if we could get some other people too that's driving this whole that's like that got some information on this so they could clarify some stuff up for us too. That would help.